Hi there. Welcome back to the Finley Formation. This is Brandon.
This Gage.
And this is Jared.
All right, we are finishing up our team history and off season. We are down to the number one overall pick. It's seems like it's been a long time that we've been doing this.
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but it's been covering the off season, so it's been kind of fun.
Yeah, we're at what, 4 or 5 months?
Yeah. But everybody
Yeah.
started summering here too.
hmm
Going camping and hanging out the lake and softball and everything. So.
Yeah. Lots and lots of
Oh,
softball.
it's a softball.
All right, but we made it down to the Tennessee Titans, who had the first selection in this year's draft. So we'll go into their history a little bit. Their owner and founder um, the, was Bud Adams. Was I should say was Bud Adams. He founded their team in 1959, and of course they were their first season was 1960, and he had it from 1959 to 2013, which
Wow.
is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
What's cool about that is he tried to get into the NFL when he first brought the Texan or the Oilers along, and he really wanted to be in the NFL, but they couldn't just get a deal done,
hmm
so he went the AFL route. Um, and yeah, they did start out as the Houston Oilers. Right now, the owner is Amy Strunk. Um, so where was I going with that one? Oh yeah, so they've been in the NFL now for 65 years, and so I think they've only had the two owners, if I saw correctly. They from 1960 to 1996, they were the Houston Oilers. They were in the AFL from 1960 to 1970, and in the AFL they made three AFL championships. They were the Tennessee Oilers. They moved to Tennessee and they kept their name the Oilers for the 97 and 98 season. And then they became the Tennessee Titans from 99 to the present, which I like the Titans better. I mean, being in Tennessee because they have no, I'm sure they have oil, but it's not like Houston or
Yeah.
Texas.
I don't know. The only reason I wish they were still the Oilers because I think the Oilers have the cleanest uniforms in history.
I think they had a pretty cool logo too.
Yeah, their logo was awesome, and
Yeah.
I think
Was
their
that the
colorway
Derek
was so
Ray
awesome.
hmm
on their helmet and
Yep.
stuff like
Yeah, and
that?
then their light blue, and yeah, I thought they had the
It
best
was. Yeah.
uniforms in history. So
Yep.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird that when Houston got another team, I know this team took the name, but I mean, why couldn't they go back to the Oilers again? I'm sure you could have bought the name back or something.
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, that's kind of weird.
Does it say, or did you find out why they moved? Why they relocated to
I
Tennessee?
I did not find that
Hmm.
out. Maybe we can look that up here in just a minute. Uh, so they were in the AFC Central from 1970 to '01, and '01 or '02 until now. They've been in the AFC South. So they have two league championships, which of course was in the NFL, like I mentioned, 60 and 61. Conference champs in the NFL in 1999, where they went to the Super Bowl and lost by like a yard and a half to the greatest show on turf,
hmm
the St. Louis Rams. Um, their overall record as a team is 479 by 15 and 6. So that puts them at a winning percentage of about 48%.
ain't terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not too bad actually.
Yeah, and I think they were really good. I think it's actually, they had a real long drought there
Yeah,
in the 90s, I think, is when they kind of went bad.
hmm
90s to 2000, somewhere around
they
there.
sucked until Derrick Henry came along and carried
Well,
the
no,
franchise.
I mean, I guess they did have a flare up there with Aaron McNair and Eddie
Yeah,
George and stuff where they looked pretty good, but yeah, they just, they can't keep it together for long periods of time. They've been the division champs 11 times. They've made it to the playoffs 25 times. So 25 out of 65 years. So that's not the lowest by any means.
no,
It's
no,
still
it's not bad at all. We've
pretty
had teams that have
decent.
been there on 80 years and they're at 19,
You're
or
right.
so
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
They do have a playoff record of 17 and 23. But then they had, like I said, their droughts. Like they only made the playoffs twice in 13 years from '03 to 16.
Oh wow.
So they have like long droughts where they'll
And
not do
then
anything.
Derrick Henry came in and carried the franchise.
Right. Well, yeah. Yeah. And speaking of Derrick Henry, so this team is the only team to have two 2,000-yard rushers per season. Do you guys know who they
CJ
are?
2K
Yep.
and Derrick Henry.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting. That was pretty cool. Uh, Jeff Fisher is their winningest head coach. pitcher. Yeah, and he went 140 and 120, if I'm reading my own handwriting correctly, and a Super Bowl appearance, which was in 1999. They have some retired numbers there. One of them is Warren Moon, which is pretty awesome. And a good story about that is it was funny when we were growing up. For some reason, my brother just his favorite team was always the Vikings, but for some reason he started just really collecting Warren Moon cards, and he had dozens of them when he played for the Oilers. And then lucky him, Warren Moon goes to the Vikings for what he spent like 2 or 3 years
Yeah.
there or
Yeah.
something.
Yep.
So he was ecstatic over that. So that was pretty cool. Number 9, Steve Air McNair, I should say. 27, Eddie George. 34, Earl Campbell. 43, Jim Norton. 63, Mike Munchak. 65, Elvin Bethea. And 74, Bruce Matthews.
Do you think they're going to end up retiring 22?
Retiring 22? Maybe. Maybe. Especially, I don't know. Maybe he'll come back there too after a stint with the
Right.
Ravens or something.
Yeah.
Their passing leader is a no-brainer, I think, was Warren Moon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
33,685 yards, 196 touchdowns. Same.
That's pretty good.
So I kind of thought that maybe he would have passed him, that Derrick Henry might have passed this guy, but Eddie George was their leading rusher.
That makes sense.
I think it's 10,009 yards is what I got here. So
Yeah.
that's pretty impressive.
Because CJ2K had that 2,000-yard year, then ended his career with, 5,000?
Yeah.
And then Derrick Henry probably had, 7 for them?
Yeah.
7,000 for the Titans?
Who did?
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, something like that. He was close, I thought. Closer than
Yeah.
that even. But
Mhm.
Ernest Gibbons was their leading wide receiver, 542 catches, 7,935 yards, and 46 touchdowns. I'm not saying he led in all categories, but he definitely led in the yards. Aldel Greco, the kicker, was, of course, it's always a kicker, led in points, 1,060. Ray Childress was their leading tackler. I think it's 888 or 858 tackles.
That's a good bit.
Yeah.
That is.
Jim Norton led with 45 interceptions.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And he was one of their retired numbers. And then Elvin Bethea had 105 sacks.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
That's
So-
quite a bit.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good. And yeah, he was another retired number of theirs. So then I have
So Bruce Matthews, how many did he end up having?
Bruce Matthews for, I think he was an offensive
I
player.
think he was a
Was he?
tackle or a guard because
Yeah.
that's what isn't
Oh,
his
he
son the
was,
one
huh?
on the Falcons?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's right.
hmm
So he probably had one then.
Yeah.
1 or 2 in his career.
So I'll go into their retired players, pro football, or not retired, sorry, Hall of Famers. And Hall of Famers, I mean, we're just going to name the guys that did play for them, I suppose. So you got Andre Johnson. I think he played there one season, though. Bruce Matthews, who we're just talking about, he was there from 1983 to 2001.
Oh, wow.
Is what it says. That's a long career.
That is a
That's,
long career.
18 years. So Charlie Joyner,
Who played for 18?
Bruce Matthews.
Okay, so at the time of his retirement, I just seen that he played a record amount of 296 games.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
That
That's
makes
crazy.
sense. Charlie Joyner, he was there for 3 seasons. Curly Culp, which I've never heard of, was there from 74 to 1980. Dave Casper was there from 80 to 83. Earl Campbell, I think everybody's heard of him. He was there from 78 to 84. Elvin Bethea, which we heard that he led them in sacks, and he was there from 78 to 84. So he only was there, 7 seasons? That's what kind of puts it at. And he led him 7 seasons for them, 105 sacks.
Damn.
That's pretty
That
good.
is really good, yeah.
Yeah.
George Blanda played there from 60 to 66. John Henry Johnson was there in 66. Ken Houston, 67 to 72. Ken Stabler spent a couple years there, or a year there, 80 to 81. Kevin Mawai,
Oh,
06 to
Is it
09.
tackle or guard, something like that.
hmm
thought he played center, but
Oh,
either
was it
way,
center?
it's-
I think he was interior.
yeah.
Was he?
Yeah.
Either way, one of the best to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Mike Munchak, 82 to 93. And so he's one of their retired numbers as well. Randy Moss did play there in 2010, which I guess I just don't remember that
I
season.
don't remember
age.
that either. That's
He
crazy.
played everywhere.
Robert Brazel, 75 to 84, Sid Gilman, one of those old school names. 73 to 74, Steve Hutchinson played there in 2012, and Warren Moon played there 84 to 93. So that was quite a stint there that he had. He played there longer than I thought, because I thought he played more in the Canadian Football League than what he did. Because I think at one point they were saying if you combined his Canadian Football League stats with his at the time when it was younger with his NFL, he was like had more passing yards than any other quarterback. I mean, I'm sure it's been blown out of the water now, but at the time. So those are their Hall of Famers. And I mean that pretty much. I mean, without like Vince Young and all those. Trying to think of other players for them that are kind of standout players. Maybe we talked about Steve McNair, Eddie George.
Dave Casper is one I really like in their history, but you talked about them. Talked about him.
Yeah.
Curse, Javon.
Oh, Javon Curse.
Javon Curse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He did play there.
Was
Yeah.
a defensive end. Is that
Yep.
it? Or outside linebacker? I guess.
Yeah.
Remember him. I guess just growing up, just remembering not so much the Oilers, but when the Titans kind of came around, that's when like the Eddie George and Steve McNair and well, they had a pretty good receiver back then. Who was the one that caught that pass that almost scored in the in the Super Bowl?
Oh. Now you're killing me with that one. I
Yeah.
can't think of it though.
Let's see if they have it. Was it Dyson? Andre Dyson?
That sounds about
correct,
right.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So those are the teams I kind of remember.
I mean, we mentioned CJ2K just in
Yeah.
his 2,000-yard season.
He kind of reminds me of that Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley had for like 2 years was like just exploding for the
Insane,
Rams.
yeah.
And then he just kind of fell off. I guess
Yeah.
Johnson kind of did the exact same thing with Tennessee.
Dude was pure speed
Yeah.
too. Oh, how could we get away with not mentioning AJ Brown too?
AJ Brown, yeah.
I was trying to think of the guy they
Yep.
had that was just there because, like we were talking about, the team they had at one point with AJ Brown, Derrick Henry,
Mhm.
and
Ryan Tannehill.
and Tannehill there.
Yeah.
When they were, I mean, I think that was 2021 when their coach there won the
Vrabel.
Coach of the Year.
That was the year I think they got the number 1 seed going into the playoffs in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
When just
Yep.
didn't pan out. I think that whole ordeal with Brown, Vrabel was, I think, for keeping him and paying him, and it was either like the GM or ownership wanted to trade him. They didn't want to pay him that kind of money.
Right.
That's when they ended up trading him for that first round pick. Was it Traylon Burks? Remember they got him out of Arkansas, and he was like just the prototypical size of like AJ Brown. They thought they were just replacing him with just resetting the rookie market again. Just kind of instead of having to pay AJ Brown, they're just going to get his clone and start all over again on a rookie contract. And I was just looking it up, and Traylon Burks, like, because I haven't heard much about him. He's just like third on their depth chart at the X receiver spot, so he's kind of dwindled down the depth chart, and that didn't really pan out for them very well.
Did you mention Keith Bullock in there somewhere?
Oh no,
Keith
That's a good
Bullock,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is a really good one.
And then Delaney Walker, because I was mad when the Niners got rid of him, let him walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he went to the Titans, and he did pretty good for him. He was ninth in their receiving. So
Yeah.
Marcus Mariota, did you mention him? Because they drafted Marcus Mariota, didn't they?
yeah, I think he was their guy
Yeah, he
out of Oregon.
when he threw a touchdown pass to himself, he was there, right?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah, I think that was where he began at.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Man, I forgot that guy existed though.
I think he's still around, isn't he? Isn't he a backup
Yeah,
somewhere?
I think he
Yeah, I think
is.
so.
I
He's
really
just kind of
do,
been
yeah.
bouncing around. I
There's-
remember the Vince Young, because it was that year with Texas where they ended up winning the national championship against that, and they stacked
Stunned
UF.
USC.
Yeah, and Vince Young was when was it? He was drafted in 2006, but so that was right around the time where he was kind of like that new age, like running and throwing and just kind of that dynamic type of quarterback, like before anybody else really. Because I think in that national championship game, he had like almost 200 yards rushing
Yeah.
and over 200 yards passing, and people never really kind of saw that before in the NFL. So when he came in, it was kind of like, oh, he's going to kind of take over the league, and he
No,
just never panned out. But
No.
him and that USC quarterback,
Matt Leinart.
Matt Leinart, because I remember talking about Matt Leinart was when he got drafted was like one of the first times I kind of remember like thinking like these guys were going to be like really good in the league, like top quarterbacks. I mean, they did it for like 3 or 4 years in college, and him and Vince Young were never panned out, which always kind of surprised me
No,
because
Vince Young still had a better career than Matt Leinart,
Yeah.
though.
they're
he had
two
something.
total different
Yeah.
kind
Mhm.
of type of quarterbacks. You got your prototypical pro style quarterback in Matt Leinart. He never panned out. And then Vince Young was like kind of the new age, running quarterback that could bomb it all over the field and run for 200 yards, and he never panned out. So it was
Right.
interesting.
Right, and it
But they
seems like
never.
they just keep missing at quarterback too. Like
Mhm.
when they get their high picks, like Will Levis, which I thought he was going to be good. I think a lot of people did. I thought he had a pretty good shot at being pretty good.
I liked his tenacity, but that was about it that I liked about him.
I think one that surprised me too that they got now that I'm looking at the list was Jake Locker. I thought he was going to be good out of
Out
Washington,
of Washington, yep.
and he didn't pan out very good. I mean, they've had quarterbacks there that they've drafted, and even Marcus didn't turn out very good.
Yeah.
So, and
So-
he's been around. It's kind of funny looking at the list they have here. You got Matt Hasselbeck played there for a year or two. Then you had what's his name, Kerry Collins. And actually,
Oh,
he did
wow.
all right there for a little bit, but so you kind of look into their history a little bit of kind of missing on quarterbacks. I think Tannehill had a pretty good run there for about 2 or 3 years.
Mhm.
Looked pretty good, and then it just couldn't hold up. So I think when you're going into Cam Ward now, if we get into their future a little
Yeah.
bit, and little segue there into who they drafted with the number one overall pick was Cam Ward. I personally like the pick. I do. I think that he might. I think he seemed like to me the most pro ready quarterback. I don't know if he's like the best quarterback, but I like the pick. And number one, they needed a quarterback. They
Mhm.
need to try to figure something out. So
Yeah, I still think Jackson Dart probably going to end up being the best in this class. But when you're a team that needs somebody to come in and start right away, I do think Cam Ward was the right selection to make.
Yeah.
And I do think he'll pan out to be a career guy for him.
yeah. I mean, hopefully, because like they haven't. I don't remember. I mean, Aaron McNair. That was what in 95, 96 when he came out.
Yeah.
When
Sounds
he,
about right. Yeah.
So I mean, it's been that long since I feel like they hit on their own quarterback. They've been able to bring in quarterbacks, right,
Yeah.
to actually hit on their own guy.
Yeah.
So I definitely I thought it was funny that people thought they were going to do Shadur for a while. It was like, oh, who are they going to draft? Is it going to, I mean, and then Shadur didn't go for another 5 rounds, which we could talk about that all day too, which is funny.
Yeah.
But
I guess you never know. I guess Shadur could end up on the Titans if he gets cut by the Browns.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, he could end up there.
I agree. I think you have to go with, the top quarterback. If you're looking for a quarterback, you can't just pass on these guys, especially with how cheap they are for at least 3 or 4 years.
mhm.
You got to take a chance on them because you never know. I mean, the saying always is you just never know when you're going to be in this spot again to pick number one.
What did his contract end up looking like?
I'm not sure what the rookie scales are anymore with the CBA. It's always geared towards, I think, the CBA and maybe the salary cap about what their percentage that they can get. So it's not like the olden days. I think Sam Bradford was the last quarterback drafted that. Remember when they didn't have the
Yeah,
rookie wage
Got an
scale?
absolute bag.
Yeah. Remember
Yeah.
we used to draft rookie quarterbacks and give them like $60, $70 million right off the bat.
Yep. Yeah, Alex Smith was a big hit. That
Mhm.
sucked.
He got a 4-year, fully guaranteed, 48.7
Yeah.
mil,
So $12 million a year.
and
Yeah.
a fat signing bonus at
Yeah.
32.1 mil.
That's pretty nice.
And
Yeah.
it's still good. I mean, they're still set,
Right.
but it's just not that outrageous
Mhm.
numbers that they used to get before they ever played it down.
Right.
That always used to kill me. They used to hold out. They used to have
Oh yeah.
all these contracts. You're like, come on, man. You haven't even played. Half of those guys you never even heard of again.
No.
And they're making all that money. They really strap teams. I think this new way is definitely better.
Way better.
Yeah.
The rookie cap is awesome.
Yeah,
But-
because you can kind of build teams around them now.
I still think even 12 mil a year is kind of a lot for a guy that's never played it down,
It is, yeah.
especially since you could have the best of the best fullback or the best of the best like linebacker, and they're not making that much.
Right.
Like his rookie quarterback contract was bigger than Drake Greenlaw's offer from the Broncos.
That's true. That is true.
Like that's still a
Yeah.
crazy number to give somebody who's never played a snap in the league. I
Right.
think.
And that's why it's kind of crazy. They used to throw fits about all that.
Yeah.
They were the highest paid guys when they would come in sometimes.
Right.
I think Jamarcus Russell was like the third or fourth highest paid quarterback when he finally signed.
I'd say he held
Yeah.
out for quite a while. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, they went into September with his contract.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, going into their roster this year, I like Cam Ward, and I still haven't given up completely on Will Levis, but it's probably not going to be for the Titans. I think he's going to spend a year there as a backup, then move on. But their quarterback room isn't great because you got the unknown with Cam Ward.
Hmm.
I do think they beefed up on their receivers. I think they did okay there. I like Tyler Lockett. I like Lockett a lot. I was surprised I know he's getting a little bit older, but he was still. I feel like every time they played the Niners, that dude was getting open and making catches.
Yeah.
All the time.
If
finding
they
the open
had
field.
this receiving core with everybody at their peak, it'd be stacked. I mean, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, and then Van Jefferson never really had great, but
Hmm.
Calvin Ridley used to be insane too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think their offense could be okay. I like Tony Pollard if he can stay healthy. I think he could, put up some numbers. I think he's all right.
I think I like Tajay Spears better. I don't like that he's the backup. I like Tajay. Not a huge fan of Tony, but he does get the job done. And then bringing in Kevin Seitler was a huge pickup.
Yeah, was
that's
Zeitler
gonna be
from
awesome.
Detroit? Is
Yeah,
that what it
yeah,
says? Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah, they've kind of just looking at it. They got that Peter Skronsky. He was a first round pick in 23, and then they got J.C. Latham. He was a first round pick last year. So, and then like you said, Kevin Zeitler, and then Lloyd Cushenberry as their center. So I really like their offensive line. And then they got
brought in Dan Moore.
Dan Moore from Pitt. He was a big free agent, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, I
So
think
that
so.
yeah, they've kind of stacked up, which kind of tracks with their head coach Brian Callahan because he was the the offensive line coach for the Cleveland Browns before he became the head coach.
So he likes his O
He
line.
likes his O line,
Yeah.
yeah. So it kind of tracks with
Well, then
his
they
history.
got a new backup and everything but right tackle on the O line too. So yeah, they brought in 1, 2,
Yeah,
4, 7 offensive linemen this
yeah, that's
offseason.
crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of color there on the step chart, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, and
And-
I think it was a big issue though. I mean, I feel like they weren't really getting it done.
Yeah.
So
You didn't really hear too much. I mean, I guess I didn't hear too much about the Tennessee Titans, like even like run game or how good they were like passing the ball, just because they were so terrible.
mhm.
So I guess I really don't know. I don't even know who there was. Spears their number one running back last year? Because it wasn't Pollard, was it?
No, I don't think so. I
Was
think
it
he was
Pollard?
hurt, wasn't he?
the running back last year was Tajay and
Well, Pollard was there, but I
Oh,
don't
was
think he led.
no, but they had Tajay and one other guy. I thought
I don't remember.
I know Tajay Spears was there, and then
Mm.
I thought they had one other guy
I don't
that
remember.
was playing with
I
them.
guess that kind of tracks with, I guess, not knowing too much about the
Yeah,
Titans.
yeah, and I mean they went completely under the radar. They couldn't get anything going. I think they had that one upset against. Didn't they beat the Texans at one point, or was it they beat a team that you didn't expect them to?
Yeah.
It might have been the Texans because I think that's when everybody was like, "Oh boy, maybe the Texans aren't."
All
Well,
that, yeah, you might be right.
But yeah, and if you move to the defense, it seems like they didn't make a lot of moves on their starting lineup. But of course, I mean, they made some moves. They drafted quite a bit, but they got him on the second as a backups, like Olawafami Aladejo.
I like that pickup.
Yeah,
Sucks he's going to be backup.
second round pick, their second pick in the draft. Yeah, I think a lot of people thought he was going to go in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So him being there, because they didn't have the first pick in the second round either, so they
Right.
were down a little bit.
And then
I-
Kevin Winston and Marcus Harris were defensive picks, but they're all backups.
Yeah,
But
and I don't know much about them, to be honest with you.
the Xavier Woods pickup was huge.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I think
didn't
that's a
realize
really good pickup, and I
didn't
think-
realize they went there.
Yeah, and I think he'll be a huge part of this defense. And then I think Cody Barton will also be a huge part of this defense.
Mm-hmm. From Denver. Yep.
Yeah, that was their biggest, I think, off-season pickup, in my opinion.
Was Cody Barton?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's Xavier Woods.
I
back in
think
the secondary, but
Barton put out in Denver, and I think he was a little bit more expensive than what Greenlaw was, and I think that's why they didn't keep him and went for Greenlaw.
yeah, Lone
And-
Greenlaw's just better.
I I don't know. I think Barton had some pretty good numbers, but
He
know,
did,
I'm
yeah.
I'm definitely biased to say that Greenlaw is better as well. But
When Greenlaw's
Trevor.
healthy, he's probably one of the better
Yeah, no, I
wheel
think
linebackers.
I
in the
don't
league.
think no bias at all. I do
Yeah.
think when he's healthy, he's the best,
Mhm.
one of the best.
I don't know if we didn't talk about Jeffrey Simmons. In my opinion, just my opinion, I guess, but he's getting a little bit older, not too much older. But Jeffrey Simmons, he's one of the better defensive tackles in the league. They play a 3-4, so he's mostly playing 4 techniques and 5 techniques. But Jeffrey Simmons is a stud.
Yeah, he's a beast in the middle there.
I like him. I totally forgot about that. Tavondre Sweat. Do you guys know much about him? I think he's like that 440-pound guy from Texas.
Is
If I
he?
remember right, yeah. He's huge. Oh, man. Well, it says he's 6'4", 366. But
That's still
huge.
that's big.
that's a big boy. Oh, he got drafted last year. Huh?
Yeah, he's from Texas.
Yeah.
He's a big boy.
So
Okay.
he's their an actual nose tackle. So that's a true nose tackle right there.
And then Sebastian Joseph
Yeah.
ain't too bad either.
Oh yeah, so I like their defensive line. So I mean, you just look at it; it was almost kind of built. Besides Tavondre Sweat, it was almost kind of built with Mike Vrabel, who's a defensive guy.
I just don't like their edge rusher without Harold Landry there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need
I
to
like Harold.
find a
Landry.
good guy
I
to
really
replace
liked
him.
Yep.
And where did Landry end up?
He went to the Patriots? So he
Patriots.
Oh,
followed
that's right.
Vrabel
Yeah.
going there.
Yeah, that's right.
And then last year is when they traded for, because the Kansas City Chiefs put like that, it wasn't the franchise tag, it was like that transition tag on L'Jarius Sneed.
Yep.
So they traded him for like a 3rd-round pick and ended up having to pay him. I know he was kind of locked down with the Kansas City defense, but I don't remember hearing too much about him last year.
So I
don't know
think
if
he got hurt.
Was he hurt?
He was hurt. He was injured, and I know he come back and he was saying, "Hey, I'm going to show everybody this year
Yeah.
why I am who I am, and
And I think he's
remind them of who I am." I should say.
I think he's kind of on an island out in that secondary, and that's why I
Mhm.
think Xavier Woods was the biggest pickup they did. Because,
Yeah.
like Amani Hooker, he's pretty good. Their corners, I don't know who Jarvis Brownlee is.
I don't either.
Never heard of him.
And I don't know much about McCreary either, but they drafted them both.
But since they brought in Amani Oriuari, I mean, he's a usable corner.
Yeah.
So that was a good pickup too. I think Jerry Snead stays healthy, and you have Monty Hooker and Xavier Woods up deep. I think they're looking pretty good, other than maybe one more corner.
They actually, I mean,
secondary.
just looking at this, they've made quite a few free agency moves that weren't like splashy. It was just like pretty much fill-in players besides offense. I mean, you got your Kevin Zeitler and your Dan Moore, then Van Jefferson and Tyler Lockett. Like I said, it's really surprising to me that I guess it's not surprising, but the Traylon Burks thing never really worked out. I mean, obviously they dropped the ball on that, but I mean, you go to what was it? Let's see, in 2021 is when they were the number 1 overall seed in the AFC, which, I mean, in this day and age, it's usually the Kansas City Chiefs, and they kind of took that from them. But you look at Mike Vrabel's stints there; they lost when he took over. They were 9-7, 9-7, lost in the conference championship. So that was the year. Remember when 2019 is when like Baltimore and Lamar Jackson kind of took over. That was his first MVP year, and it was kind of like the unstoppable offense. Nobody could figure it out, and they went to that playoffs and as the number 1 seed, and the Tennessee Titans upset him in that divisional round. Do you remember that?
Right.
Because
I
of
do,
Derrick
yeah.
Henry.
Yeah, it was.
He
And
went
their
for like
defense-
150 and 2 tugs
Yeah.
in that game.
It was at who the heck did he stiff arm in that game?
Is that the Josh Norman one?
I can't remember.
No,
He stiff
Josh
armed
Norman
the
was
crap out
Redskins.
of somebody though.
It was that safety for him, like Marlon Humphrey or someone like
Was that who it was? Yeah, I just
Yeah,
remember
when he
that.
turned around, turned into a blocker
Yeah.
downfield. Yeah, I
But
remember
nobody
that. That was
nobody
pretty
could
awesome.
figure out that offense all year, and they just freaking stymied them in the playoffs. And then, I think it had to have been the Chiefs that they lost to in the conference championship. But then the next year they were 11-5, lost in the wild card. Then 12-5 is when they got the number 1 seed and ended up losing first round, which was kind of disappointing. Probably definitely disappointing for them.
Oh yeah.
I think
for
that
sure.
they thought that was their year. That's when they had, AJ Brown was in his 3rd year. Tannehill was playing great. AJ Henry was probably pretty close to, or Derrick Henry was
Derrick
probably,
Henry, yeah.
close to his prime and go 1 and done in the playoffs. I can't remember who they lost to. It was a pretty big upset though, because like I said, them going in the first round and losing, and even like the next 2 years they went 7-10 and 6-11, so not terrible, but they ended up firing Vrabel,
anyway.
which whether you agree with it or not, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think he's a good head coach.
Yeah,
I
I
like
think so
him.
too. Yeah, I was surprised by that one when they did it, and then I was trying to think, was that the year the Chiefs kind of were low. Like they weren't playing too well. They didn't look like they were going to win anything, and then they ended up making it and winning the Super Bowl that year too.
2020. It was the year that they beat the Niners.
Yeah,
Remember, because they lost to like the Raiders on Christmas Day, and they just
Mhm.
looked like crap, and they weren't playing very well.
right.
It was that year, and then they just
Yeah.
turned it on in the playoffs like they always do. But
Yeah, that was
Mhm.
disgusting.
Yeah, well, where I was going is just like how quickly they went from being the number one seed in the AFC to having the first overall pick in 3 years, which
Yeah,
is kind of
and
surprising.
what changed that
Right.
was getting rid of Derrick Henry.
Derrick
Well,
Henry, AJ Brown, your
I-
head coach.
Yeah, I think losing
Not
those.
even AJ. It
You
was
think
just
about
straight
it.
up
You
Derrick
lose
Henry.
those
Yeah.
two players. You miss on another quarterback, and not having a quarterback there that is a true starting quarterback, a true number one quarterback. You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
Tannehill
I
did
mean,
have a few good
if you have
years,
Will
but
Levis there and he's handing the ball off to Derrick Henry, they're still
it's going to be better.
they're still
Yeah.
10-7 playoff team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're still missing on their quarterbacks that they're drafting.
No,
so
I agree.
that
They're
helps. But
They're missing on their quarterbacks, but I
Mhm.
think we would have talked about them 2 months ago if they still had Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
No
Especially
AJ
you're saying,
Brown,
yeah.
no quarterback. If they still had Derrick Henry, they'd still be a playoff team.
But he gives them a way better chance. That's for sure. I mean, he's better than any running back.
We
they've
seen him
tried to
make the
bring
playoffs
in.
before AJ Brown went there.
Haven't they
because of
tried
Derrick
a
Henry.
couple of different Dallas Cowboys running backs since then too? I know they had Tony Pollard, but did they get another guy right before him too? That was a Dallas Cowboy. I don't remember, but I know they've gone through a slew of them, and they just haven't been able to really pin down a guy.
Oh,
Who was the other? Yeah,
Before Henry, it was Murray, DeMarco Murray.
Yeah, they had
Okay.
Murray before Henry.
was that before
Mhm.
Henry? Okay,
Yeah.
so that's I just got those swapped a little bit,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I think going forward with these guys, in my opinion, I don't expect them this year to really get out of the top or the bottom five, I should say.
Yeah.
I kind of expect them to be picking pretty high next year, unless Cam Ward really just pops off and you know pulls one of those C.J. Stroud type, Daniels type of thing.
It just kind of popped in my head, but besides Andrew Luck, has there been like a first overall quarterback pick where his team has he's led them to the playoffs?
No.
Because Andrew Luck led them to the playoffs, right?
I think so.
In that first year with
Yeah.
the Colts. But
Yeah,
I was trying to think of any other first overall
like,
quarterback.
the
No,
very first.
It's
pick.
always the second or
Yeah.
third pick that goes
Yeah,
crazy.
Right. Because I was thinking of Jalen Daniels and CJ Stroud recently.
Yeah, and they were both the second pick, weren't they?
Yeah, they were both the
Mhm.
second pick, but I can't remember the first overall pick.
Yeah,
Actually,
The
leading
first
their team.
overall pick is almost bad to have because it's
Yeah.
always a flop.
Right. Well, you're going to the worst
Almost
team.
always. Yeah, it's
too.
almost always a flop.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I guess that kind of goes back to show you how probably good Andrew Luck was.
Yeah.
To be
Dude,
honest,
Andrew
with you.
Luck, I was such a big fan of Andrew
Yeah,
Luck growing
me
up.
too.
Yeah, I was trying to think if that year when that quarterback for the Jaguars took him there, was he a
Trevor Lawrence? No, because that was Urban Meyer's year. Remember how much of a
Right.
disaster that
So
was?
the one
You're thinking
before him.
before
Oh, before him?
was it
Bortles?
It had to have
Yeah.
been like in
Blake Bortles was it his rookie year when they did that,
I
or
think
was
it
it
was
his
his
second year?
sophomore year. I think he had a sophomore, like
Was
a
it?
massive sophomore year.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure on that. You could be right. But
Yeah, and this team, I don't think they're in a. I think they're in a really wishy-washy division. Like we've talked
Yeah.
about these guys with the Jaguars. They got Jaguars, Colts, Texans there. The Texans, I do feel like are going to bounce back and have a good season. But still, I mean, so I think that if they were in a harder division,
Mhm.
then I would probably say they're probably the number one overall pick again next year. But I think going into this season where they're at, I think they're going to be able to pull off a couple of wins against those teams. Probably even, surprise the Texans once at home or something. But
Yeah.
I'm going to say probably 5 wins. So I'm going to go 5-12 with them. Maybe maybe a 4-13. But
Yeah.
I'll stick with 5-12. But I don't think they're going to win a lot more.
so
than that.
we've talked about it and how I never, during any of these episodes, have given anybody under 5 or thought
Just
that
bombed
the team
them.
was going to be. Yeah, because I thought everybody looked better. And I do think the Titans look a little bit better because I do think they got their quarterback the future. But I think they're going 2-15.
Oh wow. Okay.
They have no run game. I mean, their line is a little bit
Mhm.
better, but they don't have a good back. And the last time we've seen a good Titans team, they had a good back. Anytime you've seen a good Titans team, they have a good back.
Mhm.
They have Eddie George, they have CJ 2K, they have Derrick Henry. Anytime
Right.
you see a good Titans team, they have a good running back, and they don't have it this year.
Mhm.
So, yep, they're Gonna be
First
number
over-
one pick. They're gonna be
number one pick
215,
again?
number one
Yeah.
pick. Yep.
Yeah, I just thinking about it because I guess I didn't spend any time thinking about their record, but when we were just having that conversation about number one overall picks and being quarterbacks and leading their teams to being successful seasons, besides Trevor Lo- or I'm sorry, Andrew Luck, which was probably 12 years ago, maybe
Yeah.
by now.
Yeah. At
So
least.
you just look
I
at,
thought it was 2010,
was it 2010?
Yeah,
So
still
even
15
longer,
years ago.
yeah.
15 years ago. Yeah.
So that's even worse for number one overall quarterbacks.
Mhm.
I like the direction that they're going. I think they did it the right way by building the offensive line around him. Like I think Gage hit it on the head. I really like his take on their receivers would be really good if they were still in their prime, but they're not.
Yep.
Van Jefferson's kind of getting older. You really don't hear much about him anymore. Tyler Lockett probably 4 or 5 years ago probably would have, if he was like on this team 4 or 5 years ago, I'd been pretty
He's
excited
going to
about
be
it.
a great presence for
He
Cam
is.
Ward to
I think
develop
so,
with,
yeah.
though.
I do like that.
And
Yeah.
that's why you can have high hope from this team here and
Yep.
even next year, but not this coming
Yeah.
year.
Right.
And even the running backs, I think you got a bunch of guys who are probably best suited to be number twos. Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears. They just don't have like that really good workhorse you could probably have and just kind of ground and pound. Like if
Mhm.
Derrick Henry was on this team behind that offensive line,
Right.
I'd probably be a little bit more excited, but he's not. Defensively, I like their defensive line. Outside of that, they got some good keys in the back, like Gage said, Xavier Woods, and then L'Jarius Sneed if he can stay healthy. But I'm not. I'm gonna go 3-14. I don't see much promising, and it's mostly just with the options they have on offense and Cam Ward being the first overall pick,
Yeah.
and he's not going to be the guy who bucks the trend. And
And he's a rookie.
Yeah.
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 I mean, yeah, that's rough.
Now,
and
staying-
they were bad. Like
Mhm.
they weren't just like, oh, this team had a few injuries.
right,
Yeah.
They were bad. They
But-
were a really bad team.
With me saying they went 2-15, going to be the worst in the league, I do think it's going to be a mediocre year out of Cam Ward.
Mhm.
I do think you're going to tell he fits as an NFL quarterback, just not going to explode enough to carry this team anywhere. So I still believe in Cam Ward. It's just not their time
This
yet.
year.
Yeah, it's just not
Yeah.
their time.
And
yet.
I think that's what Jared was trying to say.
Yeah.
It was
I just
not
wanted to make
this
sure
year for
everybody
sure.
knew that it's. I'm
Mhm.
not hating on Cam Ward. I really think like
Yeah.
Cam Ward, but it's definitely not their year.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. I think we're all in kind of the same boat again there. I gave them a little bit more than you guys, but still, like I said, they're going to be top 5. And it wouldn't surprise me if you guys are both right that they're, 2 or 3 wins and picking 1 or 2. Wouldn't
Which
surprise me.
makes
Although
it.
if they get another first overall
Yeah.
pick and they like Cam Ward this year, they might be stacked next
That's
year.
what I was kind of thinking. I was like, if they get the first overall pick and what's supposed to be a quarterback heavy draft class next year, I mean, people got to come out like Arch Manning and all those guys, but it's definitely supposed to be better. So if you got that leverage of having the first overall pick and somebody really wants that first overall pick, you could stack some picks for
Oh,
the
yeah.
future. You know what I mean?
So I'm saying
And
maybe
again, I'm going to hold that out there too because the Steelers are going to want to jump up there and finally get
Yep.
somebody, man. Because
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers isn't going to do anything for you this year, and he's leaving next year.
Mhm.
So
hear me
geez.
out. The Browns still don't have good quarterback options with their 2 draft picks, so they might want that pick.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And then maybe you can finally get Miles
But
Garrett.
they're
away
they're
from
probably only going to have to jump a couple of picks. So
they don't,
so
they don't
to
have
get to
give
the
up as
first,
much.
yeah,
That's true.
Problem also with the Titans being the first pick is you're not worried about them taking a quarterback,
That's true. Yeah.
Mhm.
so you might just try and trade for 2
I guess
instead of 1.
yeah. I guess it depends on who that number two team is.
That's
Yep.
true.
You know,
Yeah.
So you're afraid of maybe not necessarily getting to number one, but of who number two is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Imagine that,
Unless
as
the
opposed
Titans
to-
can play it right and kind of bluff a little bit that
That's
somebody
true.
else is interested in
Yeah,
it. So
that's
that,
true. Yeah.
But imagine a supposed quarterback heavy draft, and a quarterback doesn't get drafted in like the top
I know.
5, just based on how it ended up with
yeah.
teams.
That's
No,
true.
I'm sure there's going to be. Yeah, it would be crazy, but I'm sure there's going to be 3 or 4 taken in the top 10 next year.
We finally seen a good draft where there were supposed to be Shador and there were supposed to be
Mhm.
Cam and even Milrow. I've seen as projected first round pick. So
Yeah.
they had a
Yeah.
lot of guys that were projected first rounders, and you finally seen teams not go insanely heavy on quarterback, and I like it. I'd
Right.
hope to see it again next year.
Right.
It's supposed to be QB
Mhm.
heavy, but
Yeah, I agree with that. So yeah, we're finally finished. We have made it to the
Yes,
end
we have.
of our team history and offseason. I think this was a lot of fun.
It
I
was,
like
yeah.
learning about other teams, and I really like breaking down teams, see how they're going to do
Mm-hmm.
this next season. So I think this is something we definitely got to continue with next season. And so our next off season, I should say. So I think from here we're just going to do some probably just break out some different types of videos, and we're definitely going to be rocking with our power rankings here pretty soon. It's going to be that time. I mean, we've got a football game in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah,
That's
the
crazy.
Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, we're getting down to it, man, and I think we're going to be doing a little competition for fantasy football. And so maybe if you guys are into the fantasy football thing, maybe you guys could join us. There might be a little bit of money on the line. We'll talk about it, and then we'll bring that one back. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's time to do fantasy football teams, get all your bets ready, figure out, if you're going to be doing. I guess I've seen a lot of different like ways to do the season. We've done a lot of different things, picking teams and then combining the records. That's always a fun one. So,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
yeah,
And then we're talking about either new segment or new episode or new type of episode. You guys have any questions you'd like us to go through and discuss and talk about, please leave them in the comments. We're talking about doing a new type of episode or
Yeah.
segment, like I said. And
Kind of like a little mailbag.
what?
heck
Little
yeah,
mailbag episode.
yeah,
That'd be
mailbag.
fun. Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, we'll rock that. Yeah, hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on Podbean. Leave comments wherever. We'll get them. We frequent that pretty good. So yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
hit that up. And yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time.